Hey, everybody. I wanted to continue our stream tonight regarding Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. I do have the live stream from Jonathan Lee Ritchie's. This is updates from today. As you know, she's been missing for going into her third week. There's still heavy law enforcement involved, a lot of evidence being reviewed, uh, footage, and a lot more tips going into the tip line and the website. Currently, today's updates include the Pima County Sheriff's Department has announced that all members of Nancy Guthrie's family, including her children and their spouses, have been cleared as suspects in her disappearance. Officials emphasize that the family has been fully cooperative and are considered victims in this case. Adding to that, Sheriff Chris Nanos urged the media and public to show compassion and professionalism, calling it cruel to suggest otherwise, which is what we've been doing here, praying hope beyond hope that she'll be found safely. And I wanted to share with you again the poster that's been provided by FBI. It does include photos of the alleged abductor or kidnapper from the early morning hours of February via the door cam or Google Nest camera that was broken off. And you can see they emphasize the glove, which is still the DNA that they found from the glove is being analyzed and potentially going to Quintanto. And if I say that correctly or wrong, I apologize, for further evidence and determining if that DNA gets put into CODIS to determine if there's anyone on record that it associates to. So please remember, you can contact FBI with any tips, I should say, at 1-800-CALL-FBI. And you can also visit the website of tips.fbi.gov. So with that said, I'd like to bring, the live stream footage coming on from Jonathan Ritchie, who has a YouTube channel. It's in the comments, but I will continuously share that throughout.
Thank you.
Again, not a lot is being said, but there's been a lot of traffic in the area. I just provide you with the latest stuff.
Somebody just came with a Jeep. Flower drop.
You can see that we still have some light out there in Tucson. The sun hasn't gone down yet, so we have a little bit of time. Here in Arizona, sunsets are staying up longer and longer because the weather here is pretty nice. Tony, it's Friday, February 20th at 9 a.m.
Yep. Yes, he was.
Yes, Jonathan Ritchie has been live streaming over 12 hours a day for the last 2 weeks, going into his third week. He's been on site at Nancy Guthrie's home, which is considered a crime scene. They do have the Pima County Sheriff's Department truck protecting the property and monitoring anyone that's coming through. Also, Annie Guthrie's home, which is about 4 miles away, has been visited several times over the last 2 weeks, going into the third week. Thanks, Tony, for that update. I appreciate that. Just to recap for folks that may be attending or watching for the first time, I'm narrating what's going on there on site. Jonathan Lee Ritchie and I have never met, but he's been live streaming, and it's difficult to narrate and follow leads and move the camera around and such. So I decided to narrate and answer questions from here in North Phoenix and provide information as it comes through us. I'm sharing on screen the updates as of today. And as many people like myself are still saying prayers and hoping beyond hope that she's found and brought home to her family safely. Again, there's been discussions about medication that wasn't taken from the host when she was abducted. So I do believe that they would have found other ways to get the medication that she needed. We do know she has a pacemaker. There's been discussion about the pacemaker's range. So there's been, I want to say drones, if I'm not mistaken, that are going to be used, if not already being used at a low flying level to be able to reach the signal, which is not that far from the unit. If they're able to track her and find where the pacemaker is, they may be able to locate the abductors, alleged abductors, and Nancy herself. So that will probably be going on. We just don't hear a lot about it because it's a lot of area to cover and it's an ongoing process. But it is an option that we talked about last week, that the pacemaker does send out a signal. It was lost when her phone was left at home, when she, best way I can describe it, is kidnapped from her home in the early morning hours of February 1st. To reiterate, any of the ransom notes, none of them have been confirmed as far as the source and authenticated. And we've received several of them, whether it be news outlets or
an in-depth dive on this
law enforcement
daily.
and even Harvey
Saw
Levin from
additional photos of him
TMZ.
on X, and I got an eerie feeling about the guy. He's no good. Laura's musing said 1865 Luke Daly.
Oh, we're talking about Anakin?
Yeah. Luke Daly.
When I pause, it's when Jonathan's speaking, best I can.
What do you think about Luke Daly?
I know. Oh, John's open. Can't lower the window.
Oh, you're back.
I'm back.
Holy smokes. What's up?
I'm back.
You want to talk for a minute?
Hey, you're feeling good.
Oh,
I feel the sheriff was under tremendous pressure. If this originated as a local,
A lot of people have been asking about her right there.
Everyone,
So
I'm
you're
back.
from Los Angeles, right?
I am.
So you made it
yes.
back to the scene. Where have you been the last couple of days?
Just went home for a quick reset. I am back.
You're
On the
back,
case.
ready on the case, man. You're ready to go. Like, you know, the first week here, you were like
I was here for 2
everywhere,
weeks.
standing
I
around.
came Monday.
So you dipped away, you're back. People have been asking about you. I'm just saying, they're like, where is she?
back. Yes, I'll be here a while now.
All right. Hopefully you get some good stuff. You're
Yes.
snooping around.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Nice to see you, though.
I know you too.
She's back. People Magazine.
yeah, there's major news outlets posted everywhere, tents set up. We just met a lady who's representing People Magazine. And to continue your question, your Philly girl, the sheriff's probably under a lot of pressure. This originated as a local investigation under Pima County Sheriff's Department, expanded to include FBI support, and then it included SWAT and other law enforcement agencies as the days went on. And so I think that he's doing his best and following procedure, as we saw in one interview, which you may or may not have caught. He's following their procedures, and now we're expanding with other agencies. So more activity will be occurring, more resources made available.
Happy birthday. It's not my birthday, Betty Martin. But thank you. It's not my birthday. I don't know why people are spreading around the rumor it's my birthday. My birthday's in December. What do we got?
Somebody, this guy right here, did you see him?
Yeah.
Well,
Nah, it doesn't look like the same guy, but that's crazy.
I know.
Now they're saying the guy that came over, these people are crazy online. Remember the guy that came with the hospital scrubs and laid the flowers? They're saying it looks like Luke, right? They're saying that the guy looks like Luke and laid the flowers. Like, let me just show.
You can read the
They're
comments,
sharing.
too.
Look at the comments. Look, remember this guy? I'm just saying how crazy people get. Remember that guy that came and laid flowers? They're trying to say he looks like the other guy. These people are crazy, man. They're doing this in this missing Nancy Guthrie. This is crazy. Whoa, guys, it's crazy, man. That's not him.
You just got to use common sense.
It's not him. But there's, what are the comments saying? Let me see the comments.
People do get to provide their opinions, as you
All the
saw
men
in
out
the
there look
comment
alike.
from
Carlos who?
law enforcement.
Are they saying
We did ask that. They did ask the sheriff, Chris Nanos,
They
did
said
urge the media and
Carlos's
public
son, Carlos,
professionalism.
Carlos's son, Apple Watch.
Otherwise,
Oh my God, Carlos.
he reviewed it as cruel and suggested otherwise.
Traffic
Cruel to
jam.
suggest otherwise. So we're trying to stay positive and providing information as it comes in. Here, once again, is a tip line, 1-800-CALL-FBI. And you can also go on a website called tips.fbi.gov to provide any information you may be aware of. Also, any camera footages,
It's a major
vehicles,
traffic jam.
homes, dash cams. You never know where something information may come from. You can tell there's a lot of traffic on
Traffic
the
jam.
road. Whether it be onlookers,
Don't bump in.
neighborhood,
Watch the car behind you.
members trying to get to their homes, and it can be convoluted at times. It's a crime scene at Nancy Guthrie's house on Campbell Road in Catalina Foothills, just north of Tucson, Arizona.
It's going the other way. Cold news. Cold news gets it right away.
Incoming news reporters
Traffic jams.
and
Look,
vehicles.
I'm saying it's crazy. I mean, this is crazy. This is like a circus.
So since there are a lot of vehicles going through, I'm going to switch over to the latest report from Chris Stewart from Law and Crime.
Literally like
They've
rush hour
a few
traffic.
things, so let me drop off this screen, bring up the other screen for us. This is Chris Stewart, Law and Crime on the case.
And I wanted to say to whoever has her or knows where she is that it's never too late. And you're not lost or alone. And it is never too late to do the right thing.
A direct and deeply emotional message to the kidnapper of her mom. Savannah Guthrie releasing a heartbreaking new video. It is now day 16 in the desperate search for 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie. No arrest, no clear suspect, and swirling, conflicting reports about what may have motivated her abduction from her home on February 1st. And we just got new information in about the clothing that armed, masked person was wearing on Nancy Guthrie's door. And this new information could be huge in solving this case. We're on the case, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart.
Joshua, I can't confirm that, but if you see it in the news area.
Hey guys, real quick, before we start this episode of On the Case, one of the most watched shows on YouTube, I want to talk about our partner and sponsor, Morgan & Morgan, America's largest personal injury law firm. They're a firm with more than 1,000 attorneys who have recovered $25 billion for more than 500,000 clients. And in the past few months alone, a client in Florida received $12 million when insurance offered just $350,000. In Pennsylvania, another client was awarded $26 million. That's 40 times the insurer's offer. Morgan & Morgan makes it easy to fight for what you deserve. You can even start a claim from your phone. So if you're injured, you can start a claim at forthepeople.com/OTC. You can click the link below or scan the QR code on your screen.
Advertising for Law and Crime, not for myself or Jonathan.
From the very beginning, one question has loomed over this case. Who took Nancy Guthrie? And more specifically, Who would abduct an 84-year-old woman battling serious health issues, a woman who depends on daily medication to survive? I want to show you what the Pima County Sheriff's Department just posted Monday afternoon. We don't have suspects in this case, but now for the first time, the sheriff is ruling people out. The sheriff writes, quote, "To be clear, the Guthrie family, to include all siblings and spouses, has been cleared as possible suspects in this case. The family has been nothing but cooperative and gracious and are victims in this case." The sheriff, Chris Nanos, goes on to say, quote, "To suggest otherwise is not only wrong, it's cruel. The Guthrie family are victims, plain and simple. Please, I'm begging you, the media, to honor your profession and report with some sense of compassion and professionalism." Early on in this investigation, there were reports that Nancy Guthrie's son-in-law may be a prime suspect in this case because it was believed that he is the last person to see Nancy Guthrie before she was taken from her home. It's been reported that he was the one who drove Nancy Guthrie back to her house. Now, previously, the sheriff said that no one would be cleared until an arrest had been made in this case. It's unclear what changed that and what prompted him to make this statement now. There are several theories that have been speculated online, and one of them is that whoever took Nancy, that wasn't the intent when they entered her home, that the intent was actually to burglarize it, to steal stuff. Then something happened and they were forced to take Nancy Guthrie. Now, law enforcement, they have not come out and officially shared what they think the intent was of the person or people who took Nancy Guthrie, and it's unclear if they even know that at this point, at least from what they're saying to us officially. Now, there is a media report, though, that's getting a lot of attention, and it's getting pushback from law enforcement, and it claims that Nancy Guthrie is the victim of what was supposed to be a burglary at her home. We will dive into that new report in just a moment. But before we do that, I want to talk about what Savannah Guthrie posted on her Instagram Sunday night. It is a new video. It is raw. It is emotional. And much of her message is to her mom's kidnapper.
I wanted to come on and it's been 2 weeks since our mom was taken, and I just wanted to come on and say that we still have hope and we still believe. And I wanted to say to whoever has her or knows where she is that it's never too late. And you're not lost or alone. And it is never too late to do the right thing. And we are here. And we believe. And we believe in the essential goodness of every human being. And it's never too late.
And you just can see, you don't have to be a body language expert to see this, but just how exhausted, drained, and emotional Savannah Guthrie looks. And it is understandable when you think of what her family is going through right now. It is clear that this family continues to hold on to hope that Nancy will come home. This newest message, it seems raw, it seems unscripted, and it's certainly a different tone from her last video that you might remember. It came in around the time of a deadline that was included in an alleged ransom note sent to media outlets like TMZ. This was it.
Hi there, everybody. I wanted to come on and just share a few thoughts as we enter into another week of this nightmare. I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much for all of the prayers and the love that we have felt, my sister and brother and I, and that our mom has felt. Because we believe that somehow, some way, she is feeling these prayers and that God is lifting her even in this moment and in this darkest place. We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help. Law enforcement is working tirelessly around the clock, trying to bring her home, trying to find her. She was taken and we don't know where. And we need your help. So I'm coming on just to ask you, not just for your prayers, but no matter where you are, even if you're far from Tucson, if you see anything, if you hear anything, if there's anything at all that seems strange to you, that you report to law enforcement. We are at an hour of desperation, and we need your help.
For as public as this case has been, it is unclear what the Guthrie family knows and if they know of any possible leads that law enforcement is following. And it's also unclear what investigators closest to this case are following right now. Of course, we've heard from the sheriff, but other than that, there's still a lot that we don't know when it comes to the inner circle of this investigation. But we are learning about a potential clue that has to do with the person seen wearing a mask, a jacket, gloves, and a backpack on Nancy Guthrie's front steps around the time she vanished. The Pima County Sheriff says the clothing that you see on the person in that video, they believe that it was possibly bought at Walmart. Now, these clothes are not exclusively available at Walmart. They're calling this a possibility. But when you say Walmart, you add that clothing to the backpack that the FBI says is one exclusively sold at Walmart, a 25-liter Ozark Trail hiker pack backpack. And again, the only place you can get it is Walmart. Then you have Fox News that came out with a report saying that the holster that you see on the man's waist, that appears to be a holster. It goes for $10, so it's pretty cheap, and it's sold at some Walmarts, and they found it in stock at 5 Walmarts in the Tucson area. So we'll see how that factors into trying to identify if the person we see in that video, did they buy these clothes and that backpack relatively recently, and that can help them track down who that person is. Now, let's get to this new report that came in that is getting a lot of attention. It's from the CBS affiliate in Phoenix. A reporter, Brianna Whitney, who is a true crime reporter there. She hosts a series called True Crime Arizona. She put out a story saying that she has an inside source telling her that law enforcement believe that Nancy Guthrie is the victim of a burglary gone wrong. And the intent of the person or people who went into her home, it wasn't to take Nancy Guthrie, it was to steal things, but something must have happened inside of the house that made her the victim of a botched burglary. This would be instead of a plan for them to show up and kidnap Nancy Guthrie all along. Now, that report, it's being disputed today by the Pima County Sheriff to an extent. This is what the sheriff told us. PCSD, Pima County Sheriff's Department, has never stated that this was a burglary gone wrong. Any reports indicating otherwise are inaccurate. This remains a very active investigation. Now, look, if you want to read into that statement a little bit more, it is pushing back on the report, and it's pushing back on the department ever stating that this was a burglary gone wrong, and to suggest that, they say, would be inaccurate, opposed to them saying the story itself is incorrect. Now, the FBI also spoke to Fox News, who reached out for comment, and the FBI said that they don't know where that story came from. So it appears the Bureau is also pushing back a bit as well. Now, some experts have suggested what that local news report out of Arizona is claiming, that whoever entered Nancy's home, they didn't intend to take her, but something must have happened inside, and it resorted to that. Some of the reasons they point to that, well, you think of the images like this one. This one was put out by TMZ. This is of a suspicious person caught on camera in the weeks surrounding Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. And there have been several of these that have been posted on social media, and many of them have nothing to do with the Guthrie case. In this one, we see a man on January 23rd walking backwards intentionally on the front steps of a house 6.5 miles from Nancy Guthrie's home. TMZ blurred the man's face, but they say that he has facial hair, and it's similar to the man you see in the surveillance video that was released by the FBI from Nancy Guthrie's house. Now, TMZ says that the FBI is following this as a lead, but it's unclear, again, if it has anything to do with the Guthrie case. This video was taken at around 5 o'clock in the morning, and then apparently a dog barks and the man takes off running. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is that Nancy Guthrie, based off the timeline given to us around 2 o'clock in the morning, 2:30, her pacemaker disconnects from her iPhone. So this apparently happened in the early hours of the morning. And we're just seeing videos where you see other examples of people showing up on the doorsteps of folks in Tucson, Arizona in the early hours of the morning. Now, on top of that, we've had experts talk to us about how when it comes to kidnappings, an 84-year-old woman with health issues needing medication daily is just a very vulnerable target that kidnappers often do not target for ransom. So that could potentially lead you in the direction of the speculation that this was a burglary gone wrong. But on the other hand, we have talked to law enforcement experts who say it's very rare for a home burglary to happen in the middle of the night because that's when people are home and they're sleeping. And if you were to go into somebody's house and you want to take stuff, having a confrontation with a person who may wake up is the last thing you want in that situation. It's typically commercial buildings that become targets at night of burglars. And when you look at the suspicious person on Nancy Guthrie's front steps, it does appear that backpack is full as they approach the door, which is another thing that you would not expect from someone who is planning to take items from a home. But again, that CBS affiliate in Phoenix says their inside sources are telling them that this was a burglary that went very wrong. And then you have the Pima County Sheriff pushing back on that report. So let's talk a little bit more about the evidence that we know about in this case. We just talked about that information coming in about Walmart and where the clothes potentially could have been bought that we see on that person on Nancy Guthrie's front steps. We're also still waiting for this DNA to come back related to a glove that was found about 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's home. The FBI sent us a statement that says the glove that was found, it was found in a field on the side of a road. The agents say as they searched the miles surrounding Nancy's home, they found 16 gloves. I did find it interesting that they said that the majority of the gloves were from searchers who had just thrown them on the ground. But then there's one glove they found that seems to be offering at least a glimmer of hope in this case. That glove, quote, this is from the FBI, appears to match the gloves of the subject in the surveillance video. And when you hear that line, it certainly grabs your attention. The FBI says the Pima County Sheriff's Department sent the glove to a private lab that it uses in Florida. It was sent on Thursday last week. It was tested on Friday last week. Then preliminary results came back on Saturday. And now the FBI is waiting for quality control and official confirmation. And when that comes back, the FBI says it will then put the DNA profile into CODIS, which is their national DNA database. And if the DNA is of a person who's had any sort of previous run-in with the law, it should have a match. That database is full of people who have been convicted of crimes, arrested, or detained. Now, the FBI has not gone into more detail on whether there's anything specific that brings that glove to Nancy Guthrie's home beyond the fact that it looks like the one worn in the video by that masked, armed individual. And we should be clear that it is possible that the glove was just the result of someone glittering. And also beyond that, even if there's a match in CODIS, it was brought up that, well, that could just mean that there was someone with a criminal record who was roughly 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's home at some point. It may not be connected to this case, but you have to admit it's a clue that could mean something in this investigation now as we enter week 3. It does appear this glove is a commonly used nitrile glove that's then put over another glove. When you look at that video, we have not heard from the FBI whether they found Nancy Guthrie's DNA on the glove. Now, we do know that investigators found DNA other than Nancy's, her family, or people close to her at her house, but it's unclear who that belongs to. It's also unclear if it is someone who entered her home with bad intentions, or maybe it's someone who was at her house to help. Maybe it was hired help like a gardener or a pool person who reportedly submitted DNA samples. Now, the sheriff has not unveiled what evidence they found inside Nancy Guthrie's home. We do know that there was blood on the front steps, and that blood came back to match Nancy Guthrie, as we see it here in this video from News Nation. The sheriff has also said that law enforcement don't have suspects in this case, but he did have an interesting line that I think we need to talk about. that he said after the raid of a home about 2 miles from Nancy's house on Friday night, there was also that dramatic traffic stop. There was a man who was detained and released. And the sheriff told media outlets that the person pulled over in a traffic stop at a Culver's was a person of interest in this case. He first said it to Fox News, but that person has been released. Now, the CBS affiliate in Phoenix is reporting that DNA is being tested from that vehicle. Now, that raid moved quickly on Friday night. We saw a SWAT team move in. There was a federal search warrant of the home, which was in an upscale neighborhood a couple miles from Nancy Guthrie's house. NBC News, though, is reporting that authorities are leaning away from anyone who has been detained at this point as potential suspects.
I just wanted to come on and say that we still have hope and we still believe.
Now, it does appear in Savannah's new video that she is holding on to hope that her mom is still out there and this story could finally have a happy ending after such a nightmare. The sheriff told the New York Times that the investigation will continue no matter what. And he said this, and this was the line that did get a bit of attention over the weekend when it comes to bringing this case to an end. Quote, maybe it's an hour from now, maybe it's weeks or months or years from now, but we won't quit. We're going to find Nancy. We're going to find this guy. That's Sheriff Chris Nanos to the New York Times. Now, another development that happened today that I think we should talk about, TMZ continues to say that they're receiving emails from someone who claims to know where Nancy Guthrie is and who took her. Now, it is unclear if these emails are real, but Harvey Levin from TMZ said today they received a new letter from this person who's been demanding payment to provide information. This person has emailed 3 times, initially asking for 1 Bitcoin for the information they say they have, according to TMZ. Today's letter reportedly said, quote, I know what I saw 5 days ago south of the border, and I was told to shut up. So I know who he is, and that was definitely Nancy with them, end quote. Now, the person sending these emails, they appear to be different from whoever was behind those 2 alleged ransom notes that TMZ and local television stations in Tucson received, demanding Bitcoin with 2 deadlines that have since passed. It's unclear how serious the FBI is taking this person who's continuing to email TMZ. Now, the FBI is offering $100,000 for information that leads to Nancy Guthrie or the person or people who took her from her home on February 1st. If you have information on Nancy Guthrie, you can contact the Pima County Sheriff at 520-351-4900. You can also contact the FBI. Their number is 1-800-CALL-FBI or go to tips.fbi.gov. Join us now to talk more about this case, retired FBI Special Agent Greg Rogers. Thank you for being with us here on Law and Crime. This debate today, after this report came out of Arizona by a television station, that they have a source saying that the theory is that this was a botched burglary and Nancy Guthrie was not initially a target. The sheriff and the FBI, they seem to be pushing back on that a little bit. What do you make based off what we know at this point about what potentially happened here?
I sort of discredit the botched burglary theory myself for reasons being that when you it was even though I think it's obvious from the video cam that the individual that approached the front door made numerous mistakes, had really poor preoperative planning, but your average, a burglary is kicking in a door, stealing. What is it they were going to take? I mean, does the individual that's giving that tip saying that they believe there was something really valuable in the Guthrie home? That's just a strange neighborhood to do like a burglary. They weren't going to just go in there and steal TVs and things like that. So I really doubt that. I don't think that's a viable theory. And burglars don't traditionally kidnap the people who are in the residence. I mean, they tragically, and I don't mean to sound cynical, but most burglars are just going to incapacitate the person that's in the residence. They're going to harm them, leave them there. I mean, they don't have any interest in taking a person with them. They've got something they want to steal, they steal it, and they leave.
Yeah, and I know this television station, they just put out a statement saying they stand by their reporting. So we'll see. It's one of those things, like we'll see when this all shakes out,
Right.
like what actually it is, and we can only know so much from the outside. We've had experts who have said, and people may not realize this, that a home burglary typically doesn't happen at night because people are at home and they're
Right.
sleeping. And the last thing you want, if you want to steal stuff, is to have a confrontation with a person in a home where you see some of the commercial buildings are targets. But when I hear that, I also wonder, especially because we've heard, and even, in talking now, like this guy made a lot of mistakes when he showed up at the door. Like he didn't look like he was this sophisticated criminal mastermind, at least on the surface. Like, how often do people like that know that though, and think that through and be like, well, there's probably someone in the house sleeping?
Unfortunately, there are professionals that that's what they do. They go
Right.
from city to city, they burglarize, and then they move on. And they're actually very good at what they do. And it's all just a bet. But I mean, the bet is, it's pretty obvious. The chances of someone being home at that hour are pretty good. If you just do a little bit of surveillance, you would know when she wasn't there. I mean, it'd be easy to watch her drive away, and then you just go in and, take whatever it is you're going to take. There weren't a lot of things taken from the residence, it's my understanding. So it's unless there was something that no one knows about, some real valuable item that maybe she had, or a safe or something like that, and that was all they took, that'd be one thing. But it's the home wasn't burglarized in any sort of traditional burglary fashion. There were a lot of very valuable items still there, and they were there. These guys were in that residence for 40 some minutes.
Right.
I mean, so they were there a long time. They could have cleaned house if they wanted to, if that was the intent.
Right. You have the timeline where I think it's a little after 1 o'clock in the morning, 1:30, where the doorbell camera disconnects. And then at 40 minutes later or so, her pacemaker disconnects from the iPhone. The other piece of new news coming in, because we knew that the backpack was one that is exclusively sold at Walmart.
Right.
The type that he has. It's the only place you can get it. But now the sheriff says the clothing that this person was wearing, and I wonder if this includes the mask as well. If that's like not just a beanie that you cut holes in, but it's an actual, you wonder how many people in Tucson, Arizona are buying those with, how the weather is. It's not like he's in, Denver or something like that. But the fact that it's a possibility that these are all Walmart items, what could that mean to this investigation?
Oh, that's huge. That's we have solved a number of cases. The most important one that I can recall, we solved a serial killer murder case, Joseph Duncan in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. He'd killed a family and killed a number of children on a countrywide spree. And it was because he left some items at one of the residences where the UPC numbers were tracked back to a Home Depot. And then once you figure out which location they used, there's video cams, you've got, you're running receipts, seeing if they used a credit card. You can literally track who purchased that specific item. The inventory systems at Walmart's and, any, Home Depots, those sorts of things are very, very detailed. So you can track it right down to who purchased it. And if they didn't use a card, if they were being careful and they were, trying to be careful and they were using cash, you can still detail exactly when that item was sold, and you can look at the video cams. And we've solved a number of cases that way. That's a very, very important finding. I'm hopeful that that's going to be really helpful.
Yeah, me too. And I'm because I know when the backpack story came out, you look at that and you're like, well, when was that backpack purchased? Like, how likely is it that, it could be a backpack that was bought years ago? I don't know how long it's only been available at Walmart, but then it's like the clothes as well. And it's like, if that all lines up, that this one person bought these clothes, like that could be huge to this case. I know yesterday, another kind of big clue that came out, or at least it seems like that on the surface to us on the outside, is this glove.
Right.
And they found a glove about 2 miles from the house. they say, and the line that gets everybody's attention is that it appears to be the glove that, matches what we see in the person on the front steps. Now, does that just mean it's like a kind of like a latex style glove? I mean, anybody could have those, but based off what we know about it, the DNA testing, what can we expect if that comes back as a profile that they can put into CODIS, that database?
Oh, that may be the biggest lead we have right now. If that's actually the glove, I can assure you people are working 24/7. They've identified the DNA already. And so they'll run that through CODIS. Unfortunately, what most people don't realize is unless you have a criminal history, or if you've been in the military, or if you've been a federal agent, your DNA is available because you've been tested. But it's the vast majority of the American public hasn't been. So they'll be running, if he's not in CODIS, they're going to be running that through historical databases. We just, another case that was just solved that way was the Kohlberger case in Idaho, where he killed those kids at the university in Moscow. And that case was made by DNA. He left a knife sheath in that had his father's DNA on it. That was tracked through a historical database. And then of course we find out that Brian Kohlberger's a student, at a university 10 miles away. So it's cases are solved that way. So I'm really hoping that those were the actual gloves. We'll find out. But again, that goes to show, you can make so many determinations based on the sophistication and the talent of the individual, whoever your subject is, based on their pre-operation and post-operation planning. And his pre-operation planning was terrible. He wears a backpack with reflective gear all over it. He doesn't come with anything to defeat the ring camera, even though he's got a backpack on. He could have had duct tape or spray paint. He could have defeated that camera in a second. Instead, he grabs a bush, which shows a real deficit of pre-planning. But post-op planning, to throw your gloves, which, I've seen things like that in a number of cases, but why are you going to do that? Why are you going to, it makes you think about the intellect of the individual you're working, because you could take those gloves with you to a dumpster, 100 miles away, or you could burn them. You could, but just to throw them and leave them somewhere, again, really makes you wonder about how savvy the person is that you're working.
Yeah, and just on that, and if those are the gloves, and it's after all of this, that's what they would do, it almost makes me wonder if that's actually how it's going to be, because it almost just seems for as unintelligent they may appear on camera, to just ditch your gloves about 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's home. It's
you can't
we'll see
explain that.
You can't explain it. If that's actually what happens, and we'll see. Even with that though, because you do look at the camera. I also think of his ski mask, and it's a burglar in a comedy movie would wear that ski mask. I mean, it shows a pretty good amount of his face, as opposed to some of the other options out there that will cover your mouth and the eyes will not be as it was just as if it was why would you, and I hope it helps lead to him. I'm happy he did, but it just seems like a very dumb mask to wear if you were going to go inside, someone's home. With that, knowing it's been, we're now entering the third week of this, with all the mistakes that you see on camera, are you surprised that this case isn't solved yet?
Yes. Yeah, I really am. And again, not wanting to sound cynical, but time is just so much of the essence, considering her health and other issues. But I think during the first week, I sort of was of the opinion that they're just being very careful because there's these ransom letters. They're doing everything they can do to verify the, authenticity of those, or if they're dealing with a real person. But the fact that there were no, there doesn't seem to have been any real solid verification of proof of life. There's not photos. They're not dealing personally with a kidnapper. That's very, very concerning. And I think it's telling also in the way that the family now and the videos that they're putting out. And I can assure you those aren't done without a whole lot of planning and talking to profilers and other things about what should be said in these videos. They've gone from talking directly to a kidnapper to talking to the public. And those are radically different things.
Because we've seen, and I was saying beforehand, like, you don't have to be an expert in body language to just know what Savannah got. No one knows what she's going through, but to understand how distraught she is, like, that is incredibly real.
Right.
And it's a nightmare that nobody would want to go through. But when you look at the messaging where, it was the family together really trying to humanize her, the first couple of videos she posted, then you had the one around the deadline related to that alleged ransom note where it was more this call out to the public.
Right.
And saying, if you see something, say something. And it was almost the tone there was more of like the Savannah Guthrie from the Today Show that we all know. But then this one last night where she's saying you can do the right thing. Like, she is speaking to someone, either the person who, kidnapped her mom or someone who knows who did it, whoever it may be, like behind the scenes, for as authentic as videos like that look, like what is the advice that the FBI can give a family member in that type of situation?
We have very talented psychological profilers that are working on this case. They're there, and those messages are specifically directed, and the language in them that is used is very well thought out. I mean, those messages just aren't, those aren't off the cuff. There's reasoning behind each one. I wouldn't be surprised if this one had a little bit to do with the individual that keeps sending messages and email, to media outlets saying he knows who did it. I'm very suspicious of that, because that individual has had numerous occasions to really prove his veracity and hasn't done so. And by that, I mean, every time that the Bureau and the Pima County Sheriff's Office has detained anyone for questioning, that person could easily step up and say, that's not him.
Right.
You got the wrong person. You'd be knocking it out of the park. You would be really proving your veracity, because you're saying you know who it is, but that's not happening. So, yeah.
I know in the most recent, because TMZ today said they got another, I think it's the fourth message now from this person, and it's very different the way that person, it's very different how that person is acting. The fourth email they get today from someone saying it's not that they kidnapped Nancy Guthrie, but they know. And, there's part of it you look at and you think that it's just a very different approach compared to the initial email, which was, I want the money. And then there's no response whatsoever. But in these emails, it just got me thinking, they talked about over the border and talking about Mexico. And in a past job, I drove through Nogales, like that entryway just south of Tucson. And anybody who's ever driven across the border, like, it's a lot easier to go into Mexico than the process of answering questions, on your way back. It's just, they're not checking vehicles. They're kind of just waving you over. It's like going through a toll. How likely is it that the FBI is working with Mexican authorities just to keep tabs on whether anything is popping up that someone, especially after this video was put out of the person on the front steps, may have booked it across the border in hopes that could cover their tracks a little bit better?
Right. No, I can assure you that the federales, the Mexican federal police, our counterparts, have been involved in this case from the get-go. I mean, literally from the very beginning, because just because of the proximity, how close Tucson is to the border. And again, as you've said, It's very easy to drive into Nogales. That's not, but there are cameras, and there are plus, I can assure you from working years of cartel cases, the Mexican federal police have very close contact with the cartels. They have spoken with them about this, because if she were in Mexico, especially if she were in the Nogales area, the new generation cartel's very active there. They would know. Nothing goes on in cartel territory that they don't know about. And I'm not saying, I don't believe at all that this had anything to do with the cartels. I'm just saying they would know about it. And the Mexican federal police have been speaking with them about it, because nothing happens in an area they dominate that they don't know about.
Because I would wonder too, like just on because I initially had that thought, just as kind of the, non-law enforcement person, just kind of watching this case and seeing how close it is to the border. And you're like, is this a cartel thing? But then you think about it, it's like, if you're in the business of drugs, like the last thing you would want to do is bring this type of attention on yourself, right? Is that like a fair way to thinking of like taking an 84-year-old woman?
To the cartel, that's literally pocket change. I mean, this is not a, people talk all the time about the kidnappings that are cartel related in Mexico, but those have as much to do with politics as they have to do with, that's not a real money-making part of their business. They may kidnap a member of a family of someone who's trying to prosecute them, or of a politician that they want him to do certain things, just to teach them a lesson. So the cartels have not been coming into the United States and kidnapping prominent figures for $4 and $6 million. That's again, that's insignificant amount of money to them, and they don't want that kind of attention. They're already getting much more attention under the current administration than they want. So to do something like this would make no sense.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, it's something I think for a lot of us just on the outside, when you see, you just think of the border and, certainly some of the activity in Mexico, but, to your point, it just doesn't seem to make sense on that sense. A lot of questions unanswered now. Entering the third week of this case, you still hope that there's a happy ending here in some ways. Greg Rogers, retired FBI special agent. Great to have you on Law and Crime. Thanks for being with us.
My pleasure. Thanks.
If you have information on Nancy Guthrie, contact the Pima County Sheriff. Their number 520-351-4900. And you can also contact the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI or go to tips.fbi.
So that was a pretty good story that was covered by Chris. I wanted to share that with you. It did make me stop and think about Walmart. Keep in mind that there are a lot of Goodwills and Habitat for Humanities here and in the area. And it is possible that someone picked up some of this attire as well as the backpack. Even though it's normally sold from Walmart, there could be donations or someone had provided stuff to these locations. I don't know if law enforcement had looked into that, but that's also an option too, not just the actual Walmart stores. And yes, the internet's thinking right now, so I'm hoping that it'll finish and we'll continue with Jonathan Lee Ritchie's live coverage from Tucson, Arizona. Here's his link to his channel. I want to make sure I provide that to you so that you all see it. And he's live streaming. He's been doing that about 12 hours a day for the last 2 weeks, going into the third week today. As you know, today's February 16th. Pima County Sheriff's Department has announced that all members of Nancy Guthrie's family, including her children and their spouses, have been cleared as suspects in her disappearance. Let me refresh this, see if that makes a difference. There we go. Yep.
Another day. Breaking news. Breaking news. Come on in, folks. JLR investigates.
I'm gonna move
Another
forward
day
now.
out front of Nancy Guthrie's home. Massive media presence still here.
So he finished. Let's see what he has.
Another day. Breaking news.
Excuse me.
Breaking news. Come on in, folks. JLR investigates. Another day out front of Nancy Guthrie's home. Massive media presence still here. It's been over 2 weeks, folks. Gun stores are on the up and up when it comes to buying guns, right?
There was
Like
also a
background
gun
check and
show
everything.
here recently in Tucson.
Oh, was there? When?
So again, I don't know if law enforcement's watching
How about
this.
prior to this crime?
Reaching
When
out
was
to
the last
John
time there was a
Lee
gun
Ritchie's.
show in this area?
Pima County Fair.
When?
That's what. See, Pima County Fair.
It was
That's
a gun show at the Pima County Fair.
The Pima County Fairgrounds. That's where they host them.
Oh, gun show at the Pima County Fair. When was the last one?
That's what. Are you able?
But
to
you know,
look
this
that up?
person could have purchased a gun a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah, no, it's
If they're from
it's,
here,
It's pulling at straws, but that's where a lot of people do get them because they can get better deals.
interesting. Oh, it'll probably be all the way down here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Look, flowers. Look. More flowers. Flowers. Flowers.
Jonathan is constantly walking around, checking things out. As he comes up with, finds new information he shares online. This is ongoing since early this morning today, as he does every day for the last 2 weeks plus 1 day. Still pretty bright out for 7 o'clock, a little past 7 p.m. Arizona time.
The cards. Let me get that.
Earlier, there was quite a bit of traffic jam, people coming in both directions, not much, no ability to move around, so they're backing up in the driveways and such. So they really need to do better traffic in there, I think. And that's my opinion. And yellow
Kinda
is
just like
for hope, so
receipts
that's
and
why you're
stuff.
seeing a lot of yellow type flowers.
I don't really see like cards.
We haven't had any real updates this latter end of the day on Monday, February 16th. Hey, Kale. Yeah, the yellow flowers indicate hope. That was brought out last week, and it is a yellow coloring of flowers does represent hope. So we were hoping for her safe return. So you'll see a lot of the yellow flowers being placed there from individuals, children we've seen,
I don't really see cards.
deliveries.
Just a lot of different flowers. Nice.
Hope that helped answer your question. You're welcome. It also stands for friendship from one perspective, so that's good too. She seems to have a lot of friends, people who may not even know her but feel her pain and concerns for the family. I know I wouldn't want this to ever happen to anybody I knew. And hopefully it also brings attention to the missing children in the area and around the country. There's a lot of activity, discussions about missing children and the attention made to it. I know that Melissa Jade on her channel, she's been sharing missing children posters similar to Nancy's poster from the FBI. I'm going to try to start doing that for my future streams. It's not a bad idea to keep the word eyes out on especially children.
Sun is going down. Everyone's doing their news reports.
Hey, Lucy,
Police
welcome.
leaving.
Nobody's been arrested, but we did find that as of today, let me share this with you. The
New sheriff in town.
Pima County Sheriff's Department did announce today that all members of Nancy Guthrie's family have been cleared as suspects in her disappearance, which is good news. But now that puts them in a different direction, looking for who may or may not be people of interest. But at least it clears the family, so that must be put them at ease somewhat.
Hey, folks, it's not my birthday today. I don't know why everyone thinks it's my birthday. I appreciate that, but it's not my birthday.
In this case, keep that in mind. The victim is also with them.
It's not my birthday.
Thanks, Julie. I hope I'm doing a good job narrating and answering questions while Jonathan's on site filming live for over 12 hours a day since February 1st. Not an easy task, let me tell you. And I know that there was concern about too many news reporters blocking roads and impacting the investigation somewhat. But freedom of speech, freedom of the news, all that comes into play. And they are being somewhat considerate by parking on the far side of the road, cognizant of the neighbors' driveways and things along those lines. This is very topical. It seems very caught the interest around the globe, around the country, if not the world. Even President Trump has been updated on the current status. So I don't know how high up in the government are getting involved, but I do know that the SWAT, FBI, and other law enforcement, all the way down to the local law enforcement of Pima County Sheriff's Department, who originally began the investigation since their county, and it expanded from there over the last 2 weeks, going into the third week now. KL, no worries. Everybody has speculations. I try to keep mine to myself as we don't know the truth. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes, where the investigation's leading. So not to worry, but I'm glad you said that. I popped it on the screen, so in case Annie's watching, she can accept that. Welcome, Julie from Kentucky. I'm glad you shared that with you. It is hard to believe for anybody. Hey, Mob and WP. Today's announcement was that the family of Nancy Guthrie's have been cleared. They are also considered victims in this case, so keep that in mind, not just the alleged abductor taking Nancy Guthrie for the last over 2 weeks now, but the family are also victims of this situation, which in anybody in this situation, if it happened to their family, they'd probably feel the same way. It's a good point, Teresa. You do have neighbors driving in and out. Keep that in mind. It's hard to prevent the reporters from reporting as long as they're not directly impacting the investigation. I think that's why they're being allowed. But as you can see, there's a lot of difficulty with vehicles. So it would be something I would also consider is to have law enforcement at each end of the road to check who's coming and going, but it's very difficult. Yes, Tareem, it is live. This is broadcasted by Jonathan Lee Richie Investigates. Riches Investigates, sorry. He's been there 12 hours a day, if not longer, since February 1st on site, and it keeps the rest of us to keep the foot travel down. So that's why we're sharing. He's offered to share his channel live stream, which is why I'm utilizing it. It keeps the foot traffic down and more people being around the area. And this is his YouTube channel if you want to go and subscribe or check out his channel for other videos he's done. But currently, for the last going into the third week, he's been focused on Nancy Guthrie's disappearance.
How much on your time?
I'm sorry.
How many hours?
10 hours, 46 minutes. We got up to 12 hours.
Mob and WP, I'm not sure what to describe my feelings about this. I would hope and trust that law enforcement, this is real, and that law enforcement is doing everything they can to
Media's
find
taking their tents down.
alleged kidnappers, abductors, as well as Nancy
Their tents
herself
down.
to bring her home
Might rain tomorrow.
to the family. It's not something I want to knock because I've been on this since last week, since Jonathan's been streaming. So it's difficult to say anything against law enforcement because if you think about what's really going on behind the scenes, what's going on 24/7, as far as the footage review and following up on tips, which we heard the other day is over 30,000 has been received. I'm sure that number has increased, especially with the long weekend. This 3 days, we never know what people are going to call in or provide information. And once again, let me pop this up there. If anybody does have any information, please contact the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI, or please submit a tip online at tips.fbi.gov. These are available to anyone and everyone. You don't need to be in the Tucson area. You may have come across an individual or someone making comments, something, or you find some of interest. Like we just talked about a moment ago, about Walmart the Ozark backpack only being sold by Walmart, as well as the attire. But keep in mind, donations occur all the time at the local Goodwills throughout the state and other states, as well as the Habitat restores. So who's to say that this individual did not purchase those items from a donation center? Just something to consider, another avenue. Again, a lot more work would be involved because it doesn't have the how do you say it? The accuracy of Walmart tracking their products, right? So keep that in mind. But it is another option that they could be looking into, and they may be. But it crossed my mind while I was sharing the Chris Stewart's coverage. There's decisions being made behind the scenes, right? You could be paying the wrong person, and the money goes away, and you don't. Nancy is not returned. So it's very difficult to just pay a ransom, right? Plus, you have to validate and get proof of life, as we talked about before. Teresa's mentioned that several times. If it's not a valid request or ransom note, then it's not a good idea to pay off. Keep that in mind, okay? Yeah, one of the ransom notes referenced an international incident, which could be the border, since Arizona's on the border of Mexico. Like we just heard, it's not that difficult to go over the border, which I find difficult with an 84-year-old woman with medical issues. But if they do have her in Mexico, it'd be something that they're going to have to work with the Mexican government as well as others to locate her there. But keep in mind, there's still a lot going on, whether it be in Mexico or just here in the Arizona area. Remember, the FBI also posted digital boards as far as Houston, Texas, showing her missing person photo and the tip line and the 800 number. Thanks, Tony. Thanks for joining. And yeah, in Tucson, actually doing the footwork. Good job for them. And, I appreciate all their service for what they're doing. When we actually have a public statement, we'll know where they're at and what's going on. And I think that may answer a lot of questions. That's why I don't try to speculate on what's going on, because as reported from the sheriff's department, just not to be cruel by coming up with different hypotheticals, because we just don't know from a public perspective. Those people there are news reporters parked, and you can see the tip of a tent, but on the far side behind the camera that Jonathan has, there's a row of news reporters, state news stations such as MSNBC, CBS, Fox News, several others, and they're there to report to reach more people right around the country to gather any kind of hints and tips. Sorry, I see hints and tips from my old days as a computer desktop support person. Tips that can be provided to the tip line or the 800 number. And the crime scene is actually to the left, the actual property of Nancy Guthrie's home. They've already did many walkthroughs and canvassing the area. So you can see that the ability to park on the street is not impacting the crime scene. Plus, don't forget, they're also Annie Guthrie's house, which is about 4 miles away, is also, I don't know if it's still considered a crime scene, but they visited there also many times to gather evidence. So there's been a lot of work in the Tucson area, though, and we're Jonathan facing us right now with the media on his shirt. He is in the Catalina foothills, which is located just north of Tucson, Arizona. It's a brushy, mountainous, lot of animals that live in nature. We saw last week or the week before, Jonathan filmed a coyote, a family of javelinas. You get all kinds of wildlife there. So a lot of things are happening.
Chopper. The chopper up there.
Oh, welcome, Patrick.
Chopper
safe.
up in the sky ahead. Let's see what it is.
Mob, we don't know what the motive is, to be
Chopper,
honest with you.
thank
We've
you.
heard about, a possible,
Sweet.
there's no been a valid reason or explanation as to the motive, to be honest with you. Nothing's been stolen that we're aware of, except for Nancy's disappearance. We don't know the reason why someone would have done this or a group of people. We don't know where she's located, obviously. They're also utilizing the pacemaker, which I've explained before. My mom had one, and it does put out a signal. Now, when it dropped from her connection to her phone does not mean that the signal is stopped. So they're potentially using drones to fly low to pick up that signal from her pacemaker. That's a lot of effort because you're going to grab other signals from other devices. So if that's going on, that could be anywhere and everywhere. You can only imagine the territory that they're covering and expanding around, right? The perimeter, if not further out throughout the state. So if that activity is going on, there's really not much to show except be aware that that is another way that they're attempting to locate her. And it's not an easy process because the signal from the pacemaker
Weird that Asian flower guy didn't want to acknowledge
is not a long distance.
He has spent over 30 minutes with the flower, Madeira Beach caregiver. He's actually a he keeps saying my name, JLR.
No, I don't believe that they're going to expect her to stroll down her driveway.
He's a
but
journalist.
they're looking
He's a
in the area
photographer,
that has
journalist
choppers
for
and the
one
zones, and
might be the
well
New York
as
Post or something like that. So he's
the reporters
I've
there
seen
to
him in
report.
almost every scene that
And
I've been
Friday
to in
night,
other
the
cases. He's
law
around.
enforcement
So
had a
he's
speech
actually,
here to release a public
good
statement, which
dude.
didn't
I've
occur.
seen him down there at the
So
border.
on
I've seen him
site,
there in upstate New York with the
reporters can get
Charlotte
the
Senate
information
case. I've
out
seen him
rather
in
quickly,
Moscow, Idaho. I've seen him
finding out later and then driving
other
there. So
places
keep
too.
that in mind too. They're just parked safely
He
and
just takes
have their
pictures. I think he
center
was
set
taking
up
pictures
for
of
the
my
tent,
picture when I was
equipment
doing the
for
flower.
weather. So hopefully that answered your
I don't know
question.
his name offhand. He's down at the border, and when I was down at the border, there was a nail in his truck. Can you use?
I
this
agree,
to buy
Dolores.
flowers
Every
from
day.
us? Oh, Jennifer Heath. I'll look for yellow flowers, but please, no one send me any money for
Hey,
flowers.
Jordan,
But I'll
we're
look
gonna
for
pop up
some
a
yellow
few
flowers.
comments
I have to
tonight, okay?
within 24 hours. I have to go try to get a gift card for that homeless woman and her dog.
Here's the latest from
Let me
today.
see if I can find some yellow flowers
That way we can still listen to Jonathan.
or possibly use one of those floors. Maybe we should do that. Maybe we should do that and get yellow flowers. Let me see if I can go around and try to find some yellow flowers. A little bit of flowers. So the JLR army can lay down some flowers.
And here's Jonathan Lee Ritchie's Investigates YouTube channel. So if you'd like to go over there and subscribe or leave comments, He's streaming live, which he's allowed others to stream off his stream, which is what I'm doing, and providing narration and answering questions the best I can with any updated information I can get to quicker than he can. Because being on site with the camera and watching what's going on and being aware, and it's a lot of work to also have a script to follow or share information. He's doing the best he can, but I feel that by me adding my narrative might help people answer questions and be informed also with more details.
Nancy Guthrie. JOR investigation. This is what we'll continue to do
It's a
day in
fair
and day out.
question, Tina.
From sunrise, around a
Answer
little after
that
sunrise,
Harvey Levin
sunrise to
mentioned last
sunset.
week is that
Sun has set.
the unauthenticated ransom note stated that they didn't trust law enforcement, so they're reaching out to TMZ. It is a mindset of some people, and it also speaks to the
Keep shooting
person
your
sending the
comments.
ransom note.
Comments coming.
We need to be more supportive of law enforcement as they do put their lives on the line every time they're out and about. Keep that in mind also. Mr. Darcy, just today, the update was that the Guthrie family members have been cleared of any wrongdoing from the law enforcement, and they are now considered as, and they always have been considered as victims in this case, right? Not just Nancy. So that's probably a little bit of
Thank you, Josh.
pressure alleviated on them, but it still doesn't take away from their missing mother and mother-in-law.
I mean, we could call one of those florists and send flowers.
Usafel,
Thank you.
I honestly don't know.
Sharon.
I honestly don't know. I know that Harvey Levin's a lawyer. The show's been on for decades. Maybe they do a coverage that the alleged abductors like them and watch them a lot in the past. I don't know. TMZ is a show that's used to be on TV, still is.
Tracy,
They also have
719. Thank you.
podcasts. You can check out TMZ on YouTube. You can get a feel for what they're all
Ads
about these
exchange
days.
better.
We
Hey,
report
no worries,
news,
sir. Good.
um,
Nice to see you.
entertainment, as well as courts, a variety of topics that they cover. these
Nothing
days.
bad at all.
I hope that helped, Mr. Darcy. And we did talk about the bag and some of the attire being from Walmart. I did some research, and just to share this with you, in the immediate area there in the Catalina foothills, which is just north of Tucson, Arizona, there are 5 Walmart locations. If they were purchased, the items in the backpack were purchased from a Walmart directly. That gives them 5 local close by, as well as in the greater Tucson area within a short drive would be 7 more Walmart locations. Now that doesn't include all the Walmart locations around Tucson, around Arizona. How many Walmart stores are?
Well, oh yeah,
124 Walmart stores in Arizona. So that's quite a few stores and to visit or gather information from. Again, you're probably going to reach out to Walmart headquarters, who probably consolidate a lot of the videos and sales and receipts and all that stuff, which the intention of going computer land, right, using computers, is to provide quick and easier access to data. Hopefully they're working with that, and the Walmart officials are also providing information to law enforcement. But as I stated earlier, also, you do have products that are donated even from Walmart. When they new items come in, they need to remove old products. They will donate those to the local donation centers, such as Goodwill, Habitat Restore, right? And those, we do have those throughout the valley here. So who's to say that these items in the clothing were not purchased from the donation centers, which would make it even more difficult, I believe, to
yeah, I'm on YouTube.
actually got
I just go straight
who the
away.
person is and where they got their attire and the backpack. So not to knock it, not to make it more difficult, but it is something to consider. Hopefully law enforcement's already thought of that and they're looking into it.
Restream to all the platforms. And that way I can hook up
Hey, who's awful? Yes, in that one shot, the ski
Yeah, I just
mask with
tried
the
to pop it up
flashlight in the
on
mouth.
YouTube.
Yes, he was holding a man,
Was it
flashlight in
11
his
hours now.
mouth.
We just crossed
He was
11
working on the
hours.
doorbell
Yeah. I
camera.
mean, you know, you got to get off
Break it
for
off.
12 hours.
Yeah.
That's my
Well, I remember when I first
made
met you, you're just over what 100,000 a couple years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago, and now you're over 500. That's awesome, dude. Congrats.
Just working. I mean, just
Don't
everyone
stop the
wants to see, you know, what's on the ground.
I concur, kissing the dream. It is very difficult to locate where they came from.
I'm here with Dad's Gone Live, who's out here. Have you been anywhere?
As this is an
so
ongoing
since they
investigation
said
going into
the
the third
family
week,
wasn't involved, right?
it's
With one
a,
past
they're going to have to
Yeah,
follow
it's
up
kinda
on
what I
all
said.
leads.
There's no
So
point if they're
you're hearing this,
They're not
they
suspects.
might
There's
have
no
already
point to
been
sitting around the
looking
house.
into it.
Now I'll go
It
there. if
also
something's
takes
going
resources
on.
to do that.
Like if something's going on, but as
So
far
I'm
as saying
sure
what's
it's
going to
all
happen
the
here
I
at the
went
in the area.
past
There are
the
even
house
more
where
than
the
just the two I've
the
mentioned.
supposed
Keep that in
SWAT
mind also.
thing happened the other day. I say supposedly because I don't know for
And
a
those
fact
donation
which
centers
house it
also
was.
can
I
call
have
the
an address that
FBI,
everyone keeps giving me,
1-800 call
but I
FBI,
don't have any
or
pictures of
tip
the SWAT team at
website
that address.
to provide
Like
any
from the scene.
information if
I haven't seen
anyone
any
from
pictures
those
from that night,
locations
except for
are
everyone's
There's some
done
drone
there.
footage
There is?
Yeah.
Okay, so that the one with the wrecked car is it?
with that car that was there
Yes.
with the tarp.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I did go by that house and I did
Victoria, I'd
Car's
love to
gone.
hear who
Car's
your
gone.
source
Car got
is
towed.
because
but I
that
don't know
would be
if it was
helpful
towed for
also,
insurance,
right?
towed
Thank you.
for
So
why was it
somebody
towed?
was reporting. Thank you, Pat Brooks, 2699. Somebody was reporting that it was a State Farm insurance issue for the car wreck because the front of it was totaled.
Yeah.
So that was coming from Michael Ruiz. So we didn't the way that people sent me the video about it. There was no law enforcement there.
Yeah, I didn't
So,
see. So
He's
I
probably just trying to get money, or
yeah,
trying
probably
to
trying to
get
get the insurance going on it, get it fixed.
trying to get it fixed.
So just because it was towed doesn't mean law enforcement towed it. We don't know why. We don't have any confirmation, obviously.
Exactly, insurance.
So there's just I don't know.
What's your plan to how long you're going to be here?
I don't know. Probably out throughout the week.
Throughout the
so
week.
I figured I'll do the night thing because I've always been a night crawler. So
So you just drive around at night in Tucson?
pretty much, yeah.
Anything you see crazy in Tucson at night?
Last night there was a sheriff's officer.
There's no
parked at
confirmation that
Orange
they
First right
crossed
here.
the border with
Police
incidents.
station the
Keep
other
that
day.
in mind, Mr.
And so I
Falk.
parked there last night.
Something that's been brought up.
And when he took off, and then 3 more sheriff's trucks came out of nowhere. So I tried pulling out to follow him, but by the time I hit the green light, I didn't see where they went. So I drove through all the neighborhoods trying to find out where they're at. I didn't hear anything on the police scanner to indicate that there was something going on. Could have just been a coincidence, you know. But
Thank you,
besides
Sarah.
that, I haven't really seen anything. It's been real calm.
Yeah.
I've had last night they were spamming you and me with the SWAT thing on the other side of town.
Mhm.
So I went to both streets that had similar names. There was no SWAT activity, no police activity. It was just a
So there was activity on Oracle.
oh,
There was a shooting at the Dollar Tree.
I remember that. That was 2 days ago, right?
No, that was last night.
Oh, last night.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Last night, there's sirens everywhere.
I didn't catch that one.
Yeah. So Dad's Gone Live. If you guys
I
want to
appreciate that.
see like nighttime footage, he likes to drive and you like to drive around everywhere, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Just
Thank you, Patty.
may or may not get stuff tonight, but we'll see. If anything pops off, we'll try to be here to cover it. If not, hey, at least we're
So
here.
when do you sleep?
I usually because I run calls at night, I usually go to sleep around 4 a.m. and wake up around noon.
Okay, so you're like a four to noon. So
Yep.
you're basically afternoon, evening into the night.
Yep.
You do that all the time?
It's usually that's so with doing the stuff I do. That's usually when
Here,
news
say
stations
hi.
are
'Cause a lot of people are saying they like
Oh.
you. There you go.
Appreciate that, guys.
There's Dad's Gone Live, California. Kind of gets in his vehicle and just
Drives in circles till we
streams
find
away on like scanner, right? Scanner stuff.
Yeah.
Or whatever you see in front of
something.
you.
Chase scanner calls, car crashes.
You ever see
fires,
something that's not on scanner or just you pop
all
up
the
on
time?
something? Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
Didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah, all the time.
What got you to do this?
I grew up with a bunch of family.
Sorry to hear that, Odin.
Kid, they chased a
I
scanner
really do.
About 4 years ago, right before
Send
I
my
met you.
sympathy for your loss. That's
Somebody
not
asked
a
me
way
to go
for
live, and I
anyone
said, yeah,
to
let's
have to
go. I ended up making a page.
have the
just for
latter
a
years of
hobby
their
and
life.
Turn into what it is now. 'Cause that's how we all
Is that
started.
what you do for a living? Like it's a living?
Yeah,
Made it
that's what
into
I
a
do for
living.
Yeah,
Nice.
I do
nice.
news streaming and the live streaming. So
Yeah, I seen a lot of the like the
I
police
see someone said
activity.
Ruger. That's
You're
the
very
dog.
welcome.
What's your dog's name?
Ruger,
Ruger.
the black dog I had in
Yes.
Texas.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. And you
Um,
drove all the way to Texas.
Yeah,
Didn't you?
I drove to Eagle Pass.
How long did it take you?
Almost 30 hours because I pulled over and took a nap.
Holy smokes, 30 hours.
So-
You just took one nap and that's it?
6-hour nap, 8-hour nap. Yeah.
How long can you drive the longest?
The longest I've ever driven was from Bakersfield, California to Midland straight through for the oil fields. So So
Midland, Texas.
Midland, Texas.
So how long was that?
A little over 20 hours, about 20 hours.
20 hours.
I
What
slept
happens?
for-
What happens after 20 hours?
I sleep for about 12. I was tired. Hyped up on Red Bull. Red Bull gets me through
Yeah,
it.
I could do 20. Like, it's crazy because, like, as a kid, I used to drive down I-95 from Philly to Florida, and I used to be 18 hours, and you just
Yeah.
see like nothing. Like
Can I-
now when you get like 16, 17 hours, your eyes start getting buggy. I can do 20, and I've done 20.
Yeah.
A lot of people
I
are
can't
praying,
do it.
and I'm holding out
Can I
hope
say what I just came over through?
beyond
Is that
hope
okay?
that she
Yeah,
is
yeah, go
I
safe
just want to touch
and will
base
be
with
found
with
soon
JLR
and
here.
brought back to her
There's people going
family.
around YouTube making
Patrick,
accounts
so
of
I
a
just
lot
want
of
you
us,
to know
and,
that's
you know,
what
in
I'm
his chat,
doing,
they
and
were in
many
his chat
people are also
earlier
sending out
that people
prayers
send me
because it
screenshots,
does not
so I
hurt
just
to do
wanted to
that.
clear up that, hey,
Costs no
that's
money.
not
Not
me in your
him.
chat. That's people making fake accounts pretending to be other streamers and go around YouTube.
So basically, what he's saying is people are coming into this chat pretending he's
I'm
you
at
know
my-
him
Okay.
talking crap on me to try to get me to
Yeah,
react
to
or
get a
provoke
feud.
and vice versa and stuff like that.
that's not it.
we
keep
don't
it
feed
cordial.
into we don't
Absolutely got to keep it cordial.
we don't feed into the craziness. There's trolls out there,
Yep.
whatever, you know, like
So when that happens, to just walk up, say, hey, just let you know that wasn't me, and get back to my things.
I wasn't even aware of that. What was going on?
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many people in the chat. I don't even see
Oh,
anything.
yeah, you're just
man.
going wild. Congrats
You know?
on the growth, man. That's awesome. You've grown so much since I saw you last time.
Yeah, Eagle Pass was wild, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, Eagle Pass was something I never seen before in my life.
And
Just that whole.
you're the only one I see here that I saw you go past too, so that's pretty cool. But, all right, I'm gonna get back to my stream.
Nice
Good
seeing
seeing
you, man.
Yeah,
Be
you stay
safe.
safe, brother.
Patrick, we don't
See
know
you
who
soon.
the alleged abductor or abductors
Dad's
are
online.
currently. We just know that the family's been cleared as of today.
Texas.
So the
Sometimes I watch.
ongoing
I actually watch his
investigation
channel.
going
Sometimes
into the
I don't watch
third
many
week now.
YouTube channels, but I see a lot of the things that he does and just like follows police and stuff.
I don't either, Odin. It's inconceivable to me.
I don't know if you ever hit a mass shooting in real time. A crazy mass shooting. It's not my birthday. I don't know why somebody's saying it's my birthday. I don't know. It's not my birthday time. My birthday's in December. He's from California. Yeah, longest I've drove, probably. I mean, I think I've done 20, 22-hour drives. I can't go more than 24 hours. No way. For the dog, Melissa says. Yeah, I'm gonna go stop somewhere and try to get something for the dog and something for that individual. I'll look for yellow flowers. If not, I'll look around for a florist and just send some flowers. We'll try to say like JLR Army, Justice for Nancy or something. I'll get some. I'll make sure there's like a note we can say. JLR Army, Justice for Nancy or something. Justice for Nancy. Sue Lunsford, did you get my super chat about 15 minutes ago? I'm sure I did, Sue Lunsford. It's just very hard to read everything at once because the chat is so wild and my eyes are taking me all everywhere. And so that'll be two goals I'll be looking into this evening. But of course, got to keep tuned to what's going on in the latest. Where can you buy yellow flowers? Is there like a grocery store or something with yellow flowers? You can get yellow flowers at a grocery store. Where can you get flowers? Like where can I actually buy them instead of like going to florists? Deliver. I mean, I could get them delivered. Dog food. Indie. It says dog food.
That's Jonathan Ritchie's YouTube channel. It's
Kroger?
Jonathan Lee Ritchie's Investigate.
Jay's Publix.
You can also
What about around here?
JLR
In the
Investigates, and that'll bring him his channel up also. That was
Walmart.
him just on the screen to the left in the baseball cap. And he's currently in the Catalina foothills, which is just north of Tucson, Arizona.
Let me write down the address here.
And that's right in front of Nancy Guthrie's home. It's kind of you, Kevin. Yes, it's concerning, but I want to believe that the trying to do different words, the perpetrator or perpetrators actually were able to secure medication that she needed from another source it makes sense to me. Yeah, all Jonathan needs to do is put in the zip code and look up where can I buy flowers, and he should be able to get that on his phone. And most grocery stores in the area do carry a flower area, so that's good. Also, the Circle K may have something. It depends on which Circle K and what they carry. So, kind of you, Odin. Back at you. Yep, Whole Foods also. It all depends on what's in the general area because he's taking a hotel that he's staying at, so he can get there early in the morning and start coverage for the next 12 hours each day. So if it's in that area, he would be able to get to some store. But again, he's there live, so it's hard for him to leave. Yeah, there's been a lot of changes, Sharon, over the years. And even this area, while the folks are there on the road, parked, the other day they showed how much garbage is left behind. And it's such a natural, beautiful, natural state that to keep it clean is the best we can do. Plus, you have wildlife. They could get into eating something or by eating cardboard or something. Even the baby javelinas don't know any better, and so you can cause some damage that way. So I'm hoping that they're, now that they've been told, they're cognizant of keeping their areas clean since they are on public roads in a beautiful area down in just north of Tucson, Arizona. These are those lull times at the end of the day. It's getting the sun setting, beautiful sky, as you can see in the background. Not much activity currently. News reports have been reported around the 5 o'clock time frame. Currently, it is 7:40 p.m. Arizona time, also known as Mountain Standard Time. But here in Arizona, we have no daylight savings time changes, so it's kind of nice. And plus, as the spring comes ahead in summer, it's bright a lot more early and late, which is beautiful. So just to recap for you, today we had an announcement that the family was cleared and they are considered victims, just like Nancy. And if you were in their shoes, you would feel the same way. They're still waiting for news on her safe return. Evidence is probably being followed up on, including camera footage. Also, any tips and phone calls and website to the 1-800-CALL-FBI, as well as the tips.fbi.gov site. There's a lot of work behind the scenes that's going on that we have to give them room to do, right? So let's give credit where credit's due. Law enforcement's probably worked throughout the weekend, including today, and will continue to do so. News reporters are there on site standby for any updated news. And as Jonathan just stated, everything seems to be winding down over there. So I'm going to go ahead and end this stream. Check any last minute questions. And again, I'll stream again tomorrow. We'll see what happens during the day. If anything comes up before then, I'll jump on. But Jonathan is streaming full 12-hour days, it seems, if not more. And he goes live every day. So let me put his channel back up there for you to see. If I can find it. There you go. So you can search on JLR Investigates. Also, there are other channels covering it and mainstream media there on site. So keep that in mind. I'm keeping my prayers and hope beyond hope that Nancy is found safe, and also that the kidnappers are captured, shall we say. So thank you all for watching and spending your time with me. I hope I did a good job updating you and keep answering your questions. And I will see you tomorrow. And I thank you all very much. And don't forget, if you do know of anything, please contact the FBI or even the local Pima County Sheriff's Office. They are at 520-351-4900. That's Pima County Sheriff's Department at 520-351-4900. Again, thank you all for watching with me, and I hope I did a good job sharing information, and I'll do the same tomorrow. See you then. Take care. Bye now.